For real, comic fam, I didn't even know this comic book existed. The hottest comic books in the world. Hit the like, slap the subscribe. We're here every 7 days, keeping you up on the rapidly moving marketplace.
And is there anything hotter than Super Mario Bros. Right now? The movie just crossed the $700 million mark, on its way to $1 billion. And number 10 on the list from Valiant Comics, we have Super Mario Bros. #1 from 1990.
The first limited series featuring the Super Mario Brothers. We have, back in 2021, Heights reached at a 9.8 of $3,100, and the 12-month average of a 9.8 was closer to 1,000 all year long. Well, let's take a look at the prices, because this movie came out with a bang, shot prices up, and weeks later continued to rise. We have the first 5.5 publicly recorded sale clocking in at 119. The 8.0 hit 170, an increase of 2% over the last 12 months. And the 9.2 hit 250, an increase of 5% when you compare it over the last year. Gem hit him with the 9.8.
That 9.8 is up 23% over its 12-month average, selling for $2,549. Now, it's early in the year, but do you see anything beating Super Mario Bros.?
Well, we definitely know that Super Mario Bros. Outperformed Quantumania by nearly double worldwide. But then we also have Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which debuts May 5th. Could James Gunn bring the heat? We do have the Fast and the Furious franchise, as well as Across the Spider-Verse, which premieres June 2nd. I want to know from the community, is there any chance that any of these other movies can compete with the monster release Mario just had?
All I know is if I hear that Peaches song one more time, I'm gonna lose it. Where can we keep up with all this Mario Nintendo comic book news?
You know, it's the best comic app in existence, Key Collector Comics. This is an app I use every day. I check it right when I wake up. There's news alerts that you get notified so that you know what's happening, so you know what comics to consider. You also have the ability to catalog, keep track of your comic books, get suggested pricing, and so much more. And if you use code TOM101, you unlock a free 2-week subscription of the app. However, 98% of the app is free for everyone to use. It's those extra categories that you unlock that can keep you very savvy on the hunt and possibly make you some money.
You mentioned James Gunn. We got Guardians Volume 3 coming out in May. Number 9 on the list, more James Gunn influence, I'm sure, with Peacemaker #1 from 1967. It's actually his 3rd appearance.
This is the premiere issue, though, where it features Peacemaker on the cover, which is why this is such an attractive comic to secure. And there are so few of them in existence. We have 213 total graded on the census, only one 9.6, and that's the highest this book has ever been graded at. We haven't seen that sell publicly ever. The next one down is a 9.4, in which there are only 5 copies of, and the last time we saw one of those sell was back in 2021, where it hit 44.96. The 9.2 is the only recent sales that we can show. 11 copies exist, and the last time it sold was this month in April for $2,189.
That's actually a record breaker, 2% higher than the last record-breaking sale in 2020, where it sold for $21.55.
There was your record-breaking sale, but we also have a record-setting sale. A 3.0 sold publicly for the first time for $129. Shout out Frank Castle. And we have a 6.5 that sold for $375. That's an increase of 7% when you compare it over the recent 12 months.
Now, they haven't started filming for Peacemaker Season 2 just yet. James Gunn is crazy busy. He's got the Guardians Volume 3 promo tour, writing and directing Superman Legacy. You got the Amanda Waller spin-off series, and then Peacemaker.
It may be a little time before Peacemaker Season 2 drops, but the fans could rest assured that the Amanda Waller spin-off series, which will take place prior to John Cena's portrayal again of Peacemaker, is going to be more like a Peacemaker 1.5 season premiere. And what's this? Next on the list? It sounds like Tom did some foreshadowing with number 8, Amazing Spider-Man 129, the first appearance of The Punisher.
It looks like that shout out brought Frank Castle right out to the Hot 10 list. Just last month, John Bernthal confirmed that he'll be reprising his role as Punisher in the upcoming Daredevil Born Again series.
Now, this book has dropped mightily since the heights were reached just last year, where a 9.8 hit $57,000. Last month, March 2023, this book at a 9.8 hit $30,000, nearly a 50% drop. It's on the upswing, though, mostly because of the John Bernthal news, but also, we've talked about this before, anything Amazing Spider-Man, especially when you're looking at Bronze Age blue chip books, are not only classics, but they're good to try to buy at any point they're available. And right now, the prices are low. The The 1.5 you can secure for $685, and that's up 2% when you compare it over the recent 12 months. The 5.5 hit $1,650. That's up 11%. The 7.0 hit $2,000, where it was trending under $2K for 12 months. That's an increase of 2%. And the 7.5 hit $2,950. That's a monster increase of 31% when you compare it over the last year.
But it didn't stop there. The 9.2 sold for $4,900, 18% above that 12-month average.
There was an image leaked this month, a picture from set featuring Charlie Cox, but most importantly, a bulletin board that read March 15th, 2020. Now, although this may be a flashback, we did get some flashbacks in WandaVision. This right here could possibly tell us when Daredevil Born Again takes place.
Now, we know Thanos snapped in 2018, so this could take place 2 years into the blip.
The hype is very real for Daredevil Born Again. Vincent D'Onofrio couldn't hold his excitement. This is what he tweeted this last week. So very excited about Daredevil Born Again. Such an incredible cast and crew. Just finished a big scene yesterday, and it was so intense and wonderful working with 2 of the other cast members. Wow, we all have a lot to look forward to. We meaning you too.
I feel like when the creators get excited, you should get excited because you know you're getting their best performances. Speaking of performances, moving on to number 7 on the list, we've got Batman Adventures 12, the first comic book appearance of Harley Quinn, who we will see in live action once again.
Joker 2 wrapped up filming this past week. We've been seeing leaks of set photos all month long. We saw Lady Gaga going down those iconic staircases and not just dancing, but singing as well.
We know this is going to be a musical of sorts, which is why you would hire someone like Lady Gaga to begin with. Now, there are 65 more slabs since this made the Hot 10 list just 3 weeks ago. It came in at number 7. A CGC 9.4 is up 37% over its 12-month average, selling for $1,100. The 9.6 sold for $1,200. That's 12% higher than its 12-month average. And the 9.8 up just 4%, but selling for $2,850.
The most recent 9.8 sale, by the way, there's an increase of 14 9.8s added to the census since we last chatted about this, was a $3,030 sale, higher than the one we just reported on. I want to know from the community, considering that this book is down $1,500 since the height was reached back in 2021, are you looking at this book seriously, or are you still hoping you can get it under $3K?
We still have a year and a half until this movie even comes out, October of next year, so there's still a lot of time to try to secure that deal.
And if you're looking for a really obscure version of the first appearance of Harley Quinn, take a look at this kids read-along comic that came out at department stores back before Batman Adventures 12. Almost got him, because we're going to be talking about that one a little later.
But before we get into that, what's going on with that May mystery mail call?
Support what we do every single month. Join the community. We have a Ariel Diaz Hallows Eve #1 that we're sending out, 1 per box. I have other stuff lined up. I'm very excited to show you. Go to ComicTom101.com to get comics from us every single month. You don't even have to think about it. It's a subscription, and it only costs $35 plus shipping. ComicTom101.com.
Link is in the description. As we move on to number 6 on the list, a repeat offender, it's Flash, issue 139 from 1963.
Professor Zoom, the Reverse Flash. Eobard Thawne, Flash's most notable villain, and we have a terribly hard to acquire and high grade Silver Age key. There is only 5 copies graded at a 9.6, and that's the highest grades that exist of this book. And the only publicly recorded sale that took place of this was back in 2006 when it sold for a little over $8,000.
Now, this landed at number 10 on the Hot 10 on February 27th, and since that video, there have been 36 more slabs added to the CGC census, bringing that total up to 1,384. Now, we do have a record-breaking sale this week, a lower grade, 1.5. It sold for $120 back in 2019, up now 57%, selling for $188.
Considering that 36 new slab count Jem just reported on, none of which were in high grade, and all of the books that are trending above the recent 12 months are lower grade. We have a 3.5 that sold for $382, an increase of 5%. The 5.5 hit $610, an increase of 3%. The 7.0 hit $1,200. That's an increase of 6%. And watch this jump. Just 0.5 higher, a 7.5, hitting $1,650 for an increase of 1%. That's the difference of $450 for half a point. Hot damn.
Now, this is a tried and true Flash key issue, no matter what's going on in outside media, but there was speculation that one of these Barry Allen doppelgangers would really turn into the Reverse Flash in the movie. This Link Funko box kind of makes it seem like that's not going to happen with the lack of Reverse Flash, multiple Barry Allens, but one Dark Flash.
Could the Dark Flash be the Black Flash just renamed, which is essentially the Grim Reaper of speedsters in the comics? Or could this be the alt version of Wally West after he goes full antagonist after his wife was killed? It's hard to imagine either of these being the case. We may just have a brand new villain.
Maybe a combination of the two. We'll have to wait until June 16th to find out. I'm definitely going to check it out.
And now let's talk more about James Gunn. At the list at number 5, we have Weird War Tales 93, debuting in 1980, the first team appearance of the Creature Commandos, where we're going to be getting this team in animation with multiple character appearances in live action.
And this is a scarce book, only 85 copies on the CGC census, and we have 3 record-breaking sales. What is this, 2020? A CGC 8.5 last sold in 2021 for $85, up now 158%, selling for $219. The 9.0 sold for $175 in January of this year, and that's up 31%, now selling for $229.
There are only 18 copies graded at a 9.6, and we saw a 9.6 sell back in June of last year for $240, up 191%, selling for an all-new record-breaking sale of $699. So clearly, the spec is real, but the scarcity is pushing this book up.
Well, if we look at the upcoming DC slate, we got the end of the Snyderverse in December of this year with Aquaman 2 Lost Kingdom. We talked about the Joker sequel. We know that's in October of 2024. And then Superman Legacy is supposed to come out in 2025. So I'm assuming somewhere in mid to late 2024.
And ever since the Shazam Fury of the Gods premiere, where we saw not only Frank Grillo, who we know is going to portray in voice Rick Flag Sr., he was accompanied by Ron Perlman. So people have been speculating who he's going to play. And this is what James Gunn had to say about it.
Ron Perlman is an actor I love, but he isn't on the show, and he and I have never even talked about him being on the show. It might be better if folks stop believing rumors. If it doesn't come from me or DC, it's not to be believed.
Are you keeping up with all things Star Wars? Do me a solid and hit the like button if so. If you're tired of us talking about Star Wars spec every week, hit the like button as well. At the list at number 4, we have Star Wars The Clone Wars, Defenders of the Lost Temple #1. A difficult to acquire book because no one knows about it. It's half the size of a standard comic book and was sold at department stores.
Yeah, this is like one of those Batman Adventures almost got 'em kids books that technically had the first printed Harley Quinn in its pages. This is the debut of the Darksaber on the cover and the first appearance of Bo-Katan.
Although in full armor, this is the first appearance in story in a comic style anything, and there's been a heightened focus on Bo-Katan all Mandalorian Season 3. We've actually seen Dr. Aphra 19, the Sprouse variant, spike solely because she's featured on the cover.
So far, 72 copies of this book have been graded on the CGC census, and we have our record setter for a 7.5, selling for $175. The 9.0 broke record. It sold for $161 back in August, and it's up 180%, selling for $450. The 9.2 can't even keep up, and it still broke record. It sold for $314 back in August of last year as well, and it's up 14%, now selling for $357.
This is one of those interesting books because it has a very niche collector's base. True first appearances is what we kind of call these collectibles. And the heights that a 9.8 was reached was back in 2020 for $1,300. There's only 17 copies that exist. When you look at the 9.6, in which there are 16 copies, the heights were reached in February 2022. So this was still during the heightened investment time that we saw during the comic boom, where it reached $2,750. Well, the last GPA sale of a 9.6 clocked in at $800 just October of that same year.
And buckle up for some more Star Wars. Number 3 on the list, we have Star Wars Kanan, The Last Padawan, issue 5.
Now, this is coming out before the season finale this week, so I'm curious in the comments section, without spoiling anything, what do you think about these prices? Because by now, you've seen whatever reveals are in store for us. We have a 9.2 hitting 135, an increase of 35%. A 9.4 hitting 169, an increase of 42%. The 9.6 hit 200, an increase of 12%. And the 9.8 hit $500, which is an increase of 17%. The record high was reached back in 2021 when this book hit $900 and could have been secured for upwards of half of that all year long.
Now, this is the first full appearance of Sabine, Ezra, and Hera, but their first cameo was in the pages of issue 1, and it had strong sales as well. The 8.0 up 38% from its 12-month average, selling for $62. The 9.4 up 36%, selling for $99. The 9.6 is up 29%, selling for $128, and the 9.8 for issue 1 selling for $249, 13% above its 12-month average.
Now, this book is a little polarizing. Which one do you spec on? Which deserves the heightened price value? Well, considering that there was a point that issue 1 outsold number 6, I gotta know your thoughts in the comment section below. While we move on to number 2 and talk more about Star Wars with Star Wars The Clone Wars number 1, the first appearance of Ahsoka Tano. And it is intriguing. We just got the full Star Wars slate over the next few years, and all of the hot books have to do with the upcoming Ahsoka Tano series.
1,509 slabs on the CGC census. We have a 6.5 record setter selling for $400, a 7.0 up 8% above its 12-month average, selling for $475. The 8.5 sold for $750, the 9.4 $925, and the 9.8 up 4%, selling for $2,100.
The heights this book reached was nearly $4,000 back in 2021. Gem just confirmed a $2,100 sale, and the last sale was $1,950, under the 2K marker. I have to know from the community in the comment section below, is now the time to be patient to try to score this at a 9.8 under 2K? Are you worried that you may miss out post-season drop? Could it go up?
Like the video and subscribe to the channel, and we'll track it along with you guys. Number 1 on the list for the second week in a row, it's more Star Wars, the first appearance of Grand Admiral Thrawn in Star Wars Heir to the Empire, issue 1.
Lars Mikkelsen, the same voice actor who portrayed Grand Admiral Thrawn in Rebels, will portray live-action Grand Admiral Thrawn in the Ahsoka Tano series. We know we're going to see him there, but will we see him in the finale? That's why this book has been hot as hell. And between the grade points 7.5 and 9.8, they're all trending up.
15 more slabs added to the census since last week, when it also hit number 1, for a total of 2,613. Now, every single grade point from 7.5 to 9.8 is up above its 12-month average on the regular edition. But first, let's look at the newsstand. The 8.0 up 39%, the 9.6 up 18%, and the 9.8 up 11%, selling for $2,354.
We actually sold over on Whatnot a 9.0 newsstand for what the 8.0 is going for today. We have the 7.5 direct market copy up 36%, the 8.0 46%, the 8.5 43%, and the 9.0 an increase of 30%.
The 9.2 is up 20%, the 9.4 is up 40%, and the 9.6 up 19%.
And then we have the 9.8, which was trending near the $1,000 marker all year long, with a monster sale of $1,200 for an increase of 15%. Did Grand Admiral Thrawn appear this week? What'd you think about it in the comment section below? And as always,
geek responsibly and stay minty fresh.
Enough said. Join me next weekend at Vegas Amazing Con, and I'm going to be chilling with my homies. We got Davis Ryder, Carnivore Comics, and you know we teamed up. We have a Ben Harvey Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Look at this. We got Manta, Nebula, and Gamora all on one cover, and we have the Virgin variant drop happening. So join myself and my homies. Links in the description for all 3 of our Whatnot pages, and have a great week. We have other videos for you to enjoy. We made them for you.